Well, Letitia James might be in too deep because a group of parents and school board members are standing up to the New York State Attorney General Letitia James, who the New York Post is calling a bully. AG James faces a lawsuit for allegedly threatening to remove school board members who fail to stop people from using the wrong pronouns when talking about transgender students at school board meetings. A portion of the letter reads this: school boards that allow public comment may make reasonable viewpoint-neutral rules governing the content of speech allowed, including prohibiting all comments on a particular topic that would have discriminatory, harassing, or bullying effects. A chair of a school district in Long Island, New York, who's also plaintiff in the lawsuit against AG James, told Fox News Digital this: that James's office instructed her to not allow the public to voice concerns over trans athletes using locker rooms that don't match their biological sex. They're saying if we allow this discussion in our board meetings, she can come in and remove us from the board. They want me to stop public comment and stop them from speaking. Now, we've reached out to the Office of the Attorney General, and they tell us that they're not commenting at this time. Charlotte's a little rich, so she's trying to chill speech, but then, won't comment on this.
Letitia James is the top law enforcement official in the state of New York. Thank you, Strong Island, for coming up with these lawsuits. Thank you to these groups for filing this and exposing James and her hypocrisy. It amazes me that she still is in the leadership role that she is. And she thought she could be the governor of New York. She probably still thinks that. No. The other thing that I found ridiculous about this in this guidance letter that James sent was that she was basically this is a quote really quick here, and she says, mute, dismiss any board meeting speaker that expressed views opposing trans athletes. When we look at the polling and we know that parents overwhelmingly do not support men, biological boys and men in the locker rooms of their daughters. She is, and of course they haven't responded yet. I think she's in hot water over this one. I hope so.
But Cheryl's right, Harris. I mean, the majority of parents, the majority of Americans are on the side of sanity in this, but there's so many parents trying to navigate this hot button issue. How difficult is it for parents these days?
Well, first of all, unlike a lot of things when you go into the voting booth, school board members are something that people usually know because they live in your community, so they know these people. And if they're voting for them, they usually have a personal reason per their child for liking that board member. So to know that somebody is putting the strong arm, basically extorting them is what Letitia James is doing, is also thwarting the voter. So I thought her thing was no election interference. I thought that she stood for some of the stuff that it looks like she might be doing, like on the side. It is very confusing. And to answer your question, I don't think it's that hard for parents to understand the role that we play and who we want to extend that through the people we vote for. It's just hard to think of someone as powerful as Letitia James in her role working against us.
Kaylee, we've sort of seen this social contagion in society with some of these transgender issues, particularly with younger people. We've talked a lot about social media. What role has that played in all of this?
Oh, it's played a huge role. I would argue that the reason why so many young women in particular have started identifying as transgender is largely because it is a social contagion and because it's spread that way. And I think what's interesting here about this particular case, it just seems like an obvious case of viewpoint discrimination. According to the lawyer for the parents, it's not that Letitia James was recommending shutting down discussion about this issue altogether. She just wanted to shut down discussion from one very particular side of the argument.
That's right.
Against it. That's viewpoint discrimination. And I think this actually reveals something very important about radical gender ideology in particular, which is that the only way that the left can get the public to accept it is by threatening them with punishment if they don't. And we see this time and time again. The swimmers at UPenn who were forced to share a locker room with Leah Thomas were told by school officials that they would be transphobic if they spoke out. You see it with parents who are worried about losing their custody of their children in certain states if they don't immediately affirm gender confusion. They can only get us to accept it by threatening us with punishment if they don't. That is how out of touch with reality it is.
That's a great point, because you could speak up in support, according to Letitia James, but not against. Dr. Siegel, we've seen some societal shift, right? And we've seen it in the medical community as well, UK banning puberty blockers. President Trump directed a peer-researched review study as well, basically, aligning somewhat with what UK did. Why did doctors ever go along with this in the first place? We've always known these things are bad for kids.
Doctors are not understanding what their roles actually are when they go along with this in the first place. And I think the issue is that there's a period of gender confusion that's actually normal. And as Kaylee was just saying, for parents to take advantage of that and superimpose a political ideology ends up with a result like this. Versus, my child is confused, they're depressed, how about some mental health support? That is a totally different point of view. One other thing I want to say that's not, so I'm, from a medical point of view, I think the medical community's participation in this has been a disgrace. So I'm glad they're now afraid. They're going for the hills, under rocks. They're afraid now. Good. One other point I want to make is First Amendment. I mean, I'm no attorney, but Letitia James is saying it's First Amendment to restrict the speech of the other side.
Yeah. It's delusional.
Violating the First Amendment rights.
You know what? You don't need to have a law degree to exercise some common sense, which is what you just did. Oh, so we're still waiting on a state.
He has like 9 medical degrees. So
well, you're kind of brilliant, but we're still waiting for a statement from the Attorney General. So maybe she'll issue one. I doubt it.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.